Welcome to Sports Talk Weekly, your review show. This is the show where we round up all sports events in Namibia. Today we'll be joined by brother of the podcast, Mr. Kahiriri, and our guest, so to speak, is Julian Garises, a football guru, well known. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, on this episode we'll be talking about the announcement of the Brave Warriors team, which was done in this week. We'll also be speaking about the FNB Women's Super League, and then we'll also be speaking about the Depth Marine Premiership. So we'll immediately go into the announcement of the Brave Warriors squad. The team will be playing Cameroon next month in an AFCON qualifier. That match will be away. In fact, now as is known, both matches will be away. Guys, before we go into the announcement of the team, I just want to quickly go through the team. I have the team here. Yeah, the team is Lloyd Kadapo is there, Edward Mauva, Gisiro, Kamanja, Mervin, Nelly Roy, Ryan Yambe, Ivan Kamberipa, Johannes Shifafure, Stephen Damasep, Kennedy Amutenya, Charles Hambira, Hausep Denzel, Gianluca Kahingunga, Gebert Ananias, Hanamu Nalwindo, Naibeb Brendan, Reverend Matros, Somsep, Katuo Fredericks Dynamo, Prince Chizeo, Elago Simon Amutenya, Paules, Marshall Papama, Kambato is there, Imbodi Absalom, Kamatuka Jocelyn, and Kamatuka the young Edma. Dengu is there, Peter Shalulile is there, Elmo Cambindo is there, Pietres Jr. is there, Dion Hoto, Heikausep Marcelino is there, Jetson Eliakim Stoffel Vetbiel, Julien Oslen. It's very clear. Immediately we see the omission of three players. One is Chitembi Pietres, Wangu Gome, and the league's top goal scorer, Awilo. Let's get into it, guys. This Awilo's omission has been the talk of the town since the announcement was made. What is your take into this? Form player is not in the team. The coach has made it clear why he has omitted him. What do you guys? We can start with Julian.
Yeah, no. In Namibian football, nothing surprised me. You see that the coach had have tested and tried and tested team. You don't expect to see many new faces. The team, maybe 99% is all players that we know that was the core of the national team. Coming back to the league, if you look at our current league, there is a league of one team, African Stars versus the rest. So maybe the coach look at the competition that the Aspira is getting. That's all I can see, because if you look at against who is scoring these goals,
yes,
it's the top goal scorer. And then you have Peter Salilule, that's the top guy of Namibian football, who is also the captain of the team. So I think the coach is looking at, maybe let's allow the first round to be completed and see whether Aspira will continue the way he is scoring.
Awilo
is continuing the way he is scoring, and then maybe you can take it from there. But if you look at the team that has been selected, call up it's 40 names that has been called, all of them are former Brave Warriors players. There is maybe 5 new faces that you can see. So I think he's going for tried and tested, and also we don't have time, and also you cannot go have a team to test against Cameroon. It cannot happen.
Yeah, Sean, let's be honest. Time and again we make noise and we say we must get a proper coach to coach the national team. He must bring up his team that he's going to work with. At the end of the day, if the national team coach has decided with his team who he wants to work with, we'll always talk. We'll always have this noise. With due respect, Awilo is a good player. He has done a lot this half of this season at African Star, scoring goals the way he wants. But I would also go with my sister. Probably the competition at the league is not as big as it come. You guys are talking about Awilo excluded as one thing that is surprisingly. look at the young players that now are coming from the COSAFA, the likes of Mudeu coming back, who has not done much at Black Leopards. Probably it's something that the coach is looking at the expectation that Mudeu has given him in COSAFA. Probably he still has that eye, but he has not done much at Black Leopards. Look at players like some of them who are currently in the mix and also making a debut, like Cambato. He has not done very well in Mozambique. He has not done well. He has not been featuring very well. I know it's off pitch issues that he had with the club, but at the end of the day, he came to African Star. He performed in the games that he has been playing, but he was coming from the bench. But the coach still believed that from the talent the young man has, probably he can run into the mix and become one of the future Brave Warriors players. So those things that we want to focus on a certain player, and this is a Namibian style. I don't know where we get it from. Every time we want to talk about specific players becoming bigger than the national team and coaches and things like that.
But Oslin, I'm not cutting you. I just want to place emphasis on national football. You see, you rightfully say, a national team is not the place where you come and it's about the game at that moment. Now, yes. Players in the national team are selected based on form, so it's a merit based. It's based on merit. So if players are performing at a certain time, say now in the first half of the season, do you now say, because what I'm trying to drive to is that you don't build at national level. You have qualifiers, 3, 4, 6 games or 5 games, and if you don't perform there, you are out of the qualifier. So what do you go? You don't go there to develop players there. You go there with players that are in form.
You see, any coach has a philosophy he is following, and if the players that I select must fit in my game plan, whether they are top or not. Do you remember any country? We can go to any country. Top players will not make it. Not all the top players are making the team because the coach look at what he wants. Because if I play 4-4-2, then I know with which players I will go. And then maybe I have already the players that is a similar players and the players that is not selected. But it does not say the door is closed for these players. Currently the coaches look at what he wants and who we can contribute to the plans that he have to take us to the next to AFCON. So it will not always, there will be 2 or 3 players who will not make it while they are on top form. It's not only the top goal scorer that is not in the team. You can look throughout the league. There is players that I also saw, this one was supposed to be there. But then you look at which games did the coach look at in our Premier League? Which players did he look at? What is his plans? So we can only support the coach with the players he has selected. And then the others that did not make it must just work hard and make sure that coach, I'm around. Don't leave me behind.
The one important aspect that one should understand it. Let's go back to Manchester United. You have everybody says he's a good player, but for me he's a lousy player, Harry Maguire. Sometimes he does not make it to the Manchester United team.
Yeah.
This guy was brought into the national team, become the captain, goes to the World Cup, he goes and perform. You understand? Yeah. So these things are unpredictable. But what we should do, give the coach the chance.
Indeed.
Because he has to prove himself that why is he taking the decisions that he has taken. And mind you, we must still go back to this aspect whereby we do not empower our coaches by having scouts. You had Colin Benjamin was traveling around South Africa, Botswana, going to see players himself. Those are the work of the scouts. Our national team do not have scouts. How will a third party convince the coach that this player who's in Arandes is the best player? So these are also most of the things that we lack. Maybe when the coach went to watch African Star matches, because most of these matches are not being played on TV. He was not impressed with the performance of the player on that specific day. But where will he be able to see this player on a daily basis? Not only scoring goals.
That's the nature of football and the beauty of it. Another beauty of it is that women's football has also kicked off last weekend. Game started. I had the privilege of watching the opening game at the NFA Technical Center. I watched the match between Beauties FC and Okahanja. What a game! I was looking there at six players. Unfortunately, at that time I did not know, but I guess the time was going. Viola was impressive. The game ended 7-2 in favor of Okahanja Beauties. There was also Tura Magic won 8-1 against Right Away. Commerce Nampol, they lost to Girls and Goals. And then Namibian Daughters won. They lost to Eros Ladies. And then NAS lost 6-0 to V-Power. Ongwediva Queens lost. I won 2-0 at home to Ramblers. Usi Julin, the excitement, women's football.
Spec.
Yes. The first game I watched was Namgol against Girls and Goals. The way the players have moved, people talk about how the players move to African Stars. You should look at all 14 teams, how players have moved around.
I'll be doing that.
And when you look at, man, you did not see football. If you have missed that game, you have missed football for the year. Because the way players, it's the first game. And that's not what I see when I watch Premier League, men's Premier League. I even said when the second division of Commerce started, we are missing football. Football is here at Commerce. Second division, come and look at the players. I think even Colin must go to second division to scout.
Yeah.
But coming back to women's football, it was the best thing that could happen. Look at the game 1-0. Nambol is one of the strongest teams that we have. But Girls and Goals also, the two are forming a rivalry because of being the young team, and the Nambol come from institution where the discipline is order of the day. But coming back to NFA Technical Center where most of the games took place, you could see the people came out. You could see the atmosphere that was there. And going back to the field of play, that goals was not ordinary goals. I think the two teams that I think they need more time. Maybe this weekend they will come to the party. Is NAS? They was trailing 5-0, but when they came back, no goals were scored. So the technique, because if you don't do it at the moment you are on the field of play, you might miss out. But when they came back, and also the rivalry of the two Okanja teams, Okanja Beauty, Okanja Football Club. When they came, Okanja Football Club is the first time they came through. They play on the tournaments, but when they meet each other on the first game of the year, of the season, you could see there is talent, and you can see there is opportunity for each team. It was one of the good, best games that was played because it was end-to-end stuff. But you look at the players that we have, there is a pool building for women's national teams, under 17, under 20, and the national team itself. You could see there is talent in the country. And we can just say well done to the coaches and the technical teams. They give their best, and I believe this weekend will be a bamba to bamba.
Before I go to administrational staff of women's football, Kahiri, I know you are vested well in women's football. If I'm not mistaken, your daughter is also. So, did you watch any games? How did you find it? What is it?
No, unfortunately, I was farming this weekend. But what I can tell you from women football, you guys must join watching women football. We have been there for quite a long time. It's unfortunate that I've missed the opening games, but what I can tell you is women football is a diamond. Why do I say it's a diamond that nobody has seen? Everything that is talking about women in Namibian entertainment, you will see a lot of young people, young men flocking to it. And it is up to the administrators themselves how they would want to market this. And when you put a lot of women to go and watch these ladies playing football, you would be able to see a lot of attraction to the center of football itself. But now, on the talent that we have in this country, when it comes to women, you'll be surprised. The girls that are good in playing the game. You look at the people like Mami who are very passionate about women football, the development, the girls. I always go and watch where she's training these young ladies. She's training them with the boys on a daily basis, and that's where you start to see the talent that is coming out of these women, because you must also understand that women were not allowed to kick football in our culture.
Yes,
But now, what we have, it's a talent on the ground, and trust me, the history of what our brave gladiator has is always improving. But one thing that I can tell you, watch this women national team in 3 to 4 years. So we must say thanks to the NFA, the NFA Normalization Committee, and the FNB for making sure, and as well as the women's football desk for the good work that they have done. The good thing is the technical director of the NFA is obviously coming from the women's desk.
Yes.
So she will always try and push, because she has a special heart. I had a very close engagement with her and the FIFA delegation, because FIFA priority is they want to prioritize women football. And if we take that, we'll probably get a lot of funding through FIFA projects in order for women football to grow.
When before women's football started, there was this talk about the budget and whatnot. But women's football has always they did not mind themselves with those things. They always had things going. So seeing that things have gone, how do you see the development and imparting also? Just touch also on the Premiership. The Deb Marine Premiership is on a break. African Stars has gone unbeaten. How do you see them? Do you see them going the whole season without being beaten? Actually,
Football of this country is feminine. African Stars, that's why I'm saying it's African Stars versus the rest. So the onus is on the rest of the teams to start organizing themselves in structures, administrative and technically, and then get right players and continue to train properly and make sure that when they wear the jerseys and go to the field of play, the teams know why they are on the field of play. If African Stars win the league already in the first round, it's a disaster. Because then the coach will be the national coach will start sourcing players from who is European of outside the country base, because what he sees is not encouraging. But when one can say that all the teams have still a second round where they can redeem themselves and make sure that we see beautiful football, and then we see results that will take the football to the next level.
African Stars administration is very clear. It's a professional setup that we always want to see in Namibian football. You cannot grow or develop Namibian football if you do not get your house in order. This is not about money. This is about doing the right thing. We know that most of the clubs had divisions within themselves. Some of the clubs are not financially able to help themselves. But the finances is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is how do you run your affairs. One person cannot run the whole club. If you take teams in Europe, how many people do they employ? You, as a owner of the club, wants to do everything. It's impossible, because football have 30 employees, 30 to 40 employees. 30 of them are the players.
Clubs like that?
30 are the players. They are employees. And then you have the coaches, you have the administrators, you have the bus drivers, you have the guys who are catering and all these things. So how do you manage 40 employees or between 40 to 50 employees alone? You can't. So they must get their house in order. I don't know, the training that they get from UEFA probably is about drafting policies or not, but they must start understanding that administrating, you see, some of the football administrators do not know how to engage on tables. These are serious issues that clubs should go and revisit. If Black Africa, Tigers, Blue Waters are not properly run, then the community must stand up and remove these people that think they own the clubs and put proper people, because these clubs, most of them, belongs to the community. And I think it's up to the community themselves to say, but we can't be at the bottom of the league. What are you guys doing with the clubs? And mind you, the African Star you're talking about, doing very good. If the current administrators of African Star are not doing a good job, the supporters of African Star will go and remove you. It's simple
So
as
what
that.
you are implying is that supporters must take ownership of their clubs.
Yes, very much.
I do
You
agree
see
with
the pressure that the Manchester United fans are giving Manchester
the
United
players,
if
yeah.
they don't buy the right players, if they don't bring the right talent to Old Trafford.
But the thing in Namibia is people, when they invest in the club, they behave like they own the club.
No.
Not to put it that way, but some people, when they're at the helm of the club, they do not. There's this thing that they do not listen to many voices from outside. So what can you do in those circumstances? But Kairiri, we will not stop if we start that topic. I know. In before we leave, I just wanted to any words on the budget, the national budget on sports, just in three sentences.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the Ministry of Sport, Youth and National Services for, I don't know, maybe they were sleeping on tactics how to convince the Minister of Finance for their budget to be increased. The increase that we saw this year coming from around 300 million to 470 million. It's a big. We do not know what the inside of the whole budget is. Is there a lot of money that we are going to invest in the developments of the fields? Is the big chunk preparing us to the 2027 AFCON that we want to host? So these are the things that we still have to unpack and look deeply and see how far we can go.
It's encouraging to see. It is a great, it is an improvement on what we have lost, but also it should make sure that the Minister of Youth and Sport through Sport Commission must make sure that the federations get the administration fees, that we get our houses in order. That is where everything starts.
That's all we had for you today on Sports Talk Weekly. Thank you.